Okay, so we're simplifying expressions. What are expressions? Who remembers?
A series of numbers and letters.
Kinda. Like yes. Well, there's something specific I want. Compared to an equation, how do you know the difference?
There's no equal sign.
There's no equal sign. So with an expression, there's no equal sign. Okay, so are we solving today?
No.
No, you can't solve if there's no equal sign. You can only simplify. So that's what we're doing. So we're only simplifying today. When you're simplifying, you're combining lots of like terms, multiplying, things like that. Yes? So what are like terms?
Same letter.
Same letter and?
Number.
Not number, but exponent. It's a little number, right? So if you look here, do they have the same letters?
Yes. No.
Kinda. Well, they both have an X, but this one also has an A. Does this one have an A?
Yeah.
No, so they're not alike. You cannot combine those two terms. Okay, so what about this one? Yes. Now, does it matter that one's a fraction and one's not? No, coefficients do not matter when it comes to like terms. The only thing that matters is the variables and the variables' exponents, yes? So these are like terms. What about this one?
Wait, the first one's not because it has an A.
Yeah, this one has an A and this one has a squared and this one doesn't. Because what I want you to realize, or not A, but like 3x squared and 4x, yes, they both have an x, but x squared means twice. So this doesn't have it twice, therefore they're not the same. Does that make sense? That's why the exponent matters too. So here, are these the same? They both have an x, they both have a y, and they both have a squared. No, because this one has two y's and this one has two x's, so it's not the same. And last one. Yes or no? Okay, why does it not look alike at first? Yeah, their order is wrong. Okay, this is proper. Proper is alphabetical. So this is not alphabetical. However, it's still just WZ, right? Therefore, it is alike. But that's why whenever we start multiplying letters, I'm going to tell you to write them alphabetical. So when they are like terms, it's easier to see. Does that make sense?
So are we going to get stuff like that?
Sometimes. Not really. Usually it's going to be proper.
Like on our tests and stuff like that, is it going to be proper?
Unless I'm asking you if they're like terms, it might be out of order. But if it's like me giving you a problem, it's going to be proper. Yeah. Okay, so coefficients. What are coefficients? Yeah, they're the numbers that go in front of what? The letters. So what is our coefficient here? What is our coefficient here? This one's kind of tricky. So it's not 5. It has a 5 in it. It has a 1 in it.
1/5.
It is 1/5. And the reason being is because we can rewrite this as 1/5 y cubed. That letter can go on top or to the side. So if I rewrite it, it's just 1/5 in front, right?
If it's on the bottom, you can't rewrite it like that, right?
What do you, the letter? No. Yeah, if it's on the bottom, that's a whole nother ball game. Okay, what about this one?
0.7.
Yep, 0.7 or just 0.7. What about this one? 1. If there's no number, you can put a 1. So what about this one? And what about this one? What do we call it when it doesn't have letters? It is a normal number, but there's a word. There is a word, and it also starts with CO.
Constant.
It's your constant. Not coefficient, that's what we've been saying. So this is a constant because there's no letter. Okay? The reason we call it a constant is because if I had an equation like 3x minus 5, and I plugged in, because I said x is 2, that first term's going to change, right?
Yeah.
Does this term change? No, that's why we call it constant. It stays, okay? Okay, so now practicing actually combining like terms. If you look at number 3, I know y'all love fractions the best. Me too. It's okay. Anyways, so when we're adding, so are these like terms first off? Why are they like terms? not the denominator.
Because the x squared.
It's because they both have an x and they both have a squared. They both have an x squared. Okay, so remember, your number in front does not tell you if it's a like term or not. These are both like terms because they both have an x squared, right? So when I add them, okay, what's the rule when adding fractions?
Add the top, multiply the top, add the bottom.
No. What has to be the same before we can even combine? The denominator. So do they already have a common denominator? When your denominator is already common, which we know x squared is going to stay the same because we're just combining, okay, the denominator doesn't change. The only thing that changes is the numerator. What's 2 plus 1? 3. Now does this simplify? 1 x squared, which I can also write how?
X squared.
Just x squared. So there are your answers. Now, do you have to write it both ways? No, I'm writing it both ways because I want y'all to realize those are the same. Yes? Cool. Do-do-do.
Do you have Blakey today?
I don't. I need to bring some. Okay, so now looking at B, is everything in common? Is everything a like term? Good Lord.
No.
Whose phone is that? I'm judging y'all. Just kidding, kind of. Okay, what are my like terms here?
The x squared.
Yeah, we have the 8x squared plus 2x squared. And then we have the 2x minus 3x. Okay, so here's my thing. If you notice, I do different types of lines underneath them. And I think in Algebra 1, they would like push you to do a circle and a box and a triangle or whatever. Okay, the reason I don't like that is because if I put a box around my 3x, what did I just do to my minus sign?
You singled it out to yourself.
Not even that, but if I drew it right, it looks like a plus sign now. Okay, and that's what happens a lot of the time, okay? So I don't like doing that because then a lot of times y'all end up adding, especially if y'all write darker. I did it really light because I knew I was going to erase it. Or if you use pen, it starts to look like a plus sign when it's not. It's a minus sign. So don't do that. Okay, just do weird lines if you need to. Now, these are small, so you don't really need that yet. But eventually when we get to the bigger ones, you'll want to, which isn't in this lesson. Thank you. Okay, so knowing that, what's 8x squared plus 2x squared? And what's 2x minus 3x?
What?
2x minus 3x. Negative 1x. Which I can also write how? As just 10x minus x. So either of those would be accepted. Okay, any questions with that? Okay, so now we're going into like full-on simplifying. Okay, this has multiplication in it as well. Who remembers order of operations acronym?
I would have remembered that.
Over.
No, start what?
JAMA.
No. I don't know, I've heard other people do other ones. It starts with P. PIMDOS.
Oh,
Oh. Same thing.
I don't remember.
I've heard other ones, but I don't know those. I know this. Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Nah, my brain doesn't think like that. I'm old school with the PIMDOS. Okay, parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. Now these can be done in whatever order and these can be done in whatever order. Okay, so knowing that, does anything inside my parentheses simplify? No, so I don't need to worry about the P. What about E? No exponents. Now, is there multiplication here? Yes, that 5 in front is telling me to multiply. Now, is it telling me just to multiply here? No, I also have to give it to the 2. Why?
Inside, outside the
Who remembers what we call that? Yeah, we're distributing. This is the distributive property. And you have to get rid of that before you can add or subtract or do any of the other things. So knowing that 5 times 3a is 15a, and 5 times 2? And that does not simplify, so there's my answer.
I said I hate not solving.
I know. We'll get there, I promise. Okay, so look at B. What am I going to do first? What? Distribute. What's 4 times 2x? And what's 4 times 1?
4.
And do I keep going? Do I do 4 times negative 8?
No.
No. Okay, think about it this way. If I'm passing out candy, the parentheses is my classroom. Do I have to give the random kid in the hallway candy as well? The kid on the outside? No. I mean, I could, but do I need to? No. Okay, I only have to give it to the people on the inside. Okay, so that I'm just going to bring down. Now, can I do addition and subtraction because there's no more multiplication? Yes. What do I combine? What are my like terms?
4 and 8.
Yeah, 4 and negative 8 because they're both constants. They don't have a variable. So what does that give me? Negative 4. 8x minus 4 is exactly right. Any questions with that? Okay, so look at C. What do you think we do first?
Add the 3.
Are we going to multiply first or add first? Multiply. So I'm not going to do 8 plus 3, which is so hard because it's like right there, right? Don't let that throw you off. You still have to follow PEMDAS. Okay, so parentheses, nothing inside adds or combines. There is no exponent, so I have to multiply before I add. Okay, this one, the way it's set up, I want you to say no, I don't want you to say. I want you to know it's very, very similar to this. It just has it in the front, but you still have to multiply first. So 3 times 3x
9x.
and 3 times negative 4.
12.
Negative 12, and I'm going to bring down that 8 and that plus sign. Am I done?
No.
What do I combine now?
12 and 8.
12.
Yeah, what's 8 minus 12?
Negative 4.
I dropped it.
You'll be okay.
Do you have a broom?
We'll pick it up in a minute. We'll figure it out. You'll be fine. Okay, what about this one? Okay, don't let the square brackets throw you off. It's just a second set of parentheses. Sometimes you'll see other types just so you can tell a difference. Like this is one set and this is a different set. Yes? That's the only reason there's a square bracket instead of a parentheses, right? Okay, so knowing that, PEMDAS, we always have to start in the middle. Can anything combine? No. So then we're going to kind of pay attention just to this set. Okay? And we have to do what first? We're not going to distribute the 5 because that's not touching my parentheses. What's touching my parentheses?
Negative.
The negative. Does negative change things? Yes. What if it was a plus sign? Does plus signs change anything? No. So if it was a plus sign, we could just ignore it and combine like terms. But it's a minus sign and that changes things. If I'm going to take something away from this classroom, so say I had to get rid of all of the lights, am I going to just take the one closest to the door? No, I have to take all of them. So I have to take what's closest to the door and what's not closest to the door. So I have to distribute this negative. I'm going to bring down that 5. And that gives me minus 3. And I have to distribute it again. What do 2 negatives give me? A plus x. Okay, that's still in a set. And I'm going to bring down this 6 and this minus as well. Now, because I still have a parentheses, I'm almost starting PEMDAS over. So looking in just that first set of parentheses, can I combine anything? Yeah, what's 5 minus 3?
Negative.
Positive.
Oh, it is positive.
Want that to be negative.
It is. Okay, so now I can kind of start that whole process over again. What do I need to do next?
Negative 2.
Distribute the negative, not the 6. So when I distribute that, I'm going to bring the 6 down. And I get minus 2 minus x. And well, what's 6 minus 2?
4.
So I get 4 minus x. Now, here's my question, because proper, this is not proper. And that's fine. I'm okay with this right now. But if this was multiple choice and it was a test or something, I need you to understand which one of these would be your answer. Which one of those would be your answer, A or B?
B.
It would be B. Because is 4 positive or negative? Positive. Is x positive or negative? So it has to stay that way. So this would be your answer, not that. Does that make sense? So be super careful when you flip those things. Okay, when you're done writing that down, flip to the back.
Add the one or four?
Oh. Never mind.
Okay, so this problem is everybody's favorite. I know, it's okay. We're going to do it together, and the one I give you on your practice is not as gross, I promise. Okay, so when you multiply fractions, we talked about this yesterday, you have to multiply the tops and the bottoms. So if these aren't already fractions, you can put them over 1. Now the nice thing is this is 1/3, so it's not a bunch, but if this was like 2/3 or a bigger number on top, it would be more work. Okay, so 1 times 7y is 7y, and 3 times 1 is 3. Because I'm distributing. 1/3 times -1, so 1 times -1 is -1 over 3 times 1 is 3. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
So again, that's kind of that side, so now I'm going to distribute the 1/6. So I can make these fractions. 1 times 4y, and it's a positive 1, so plus 1y over, or 4y, sorry. 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 7 times 1 is 7 over 6 times 1 is 6. Now, what are my like terms? It's kind of a trick question.
None of them.
1/3 and 7/6 are like terms. Now, I can't combine them yet, but they are like terms. Why are they like terms?
Because 6 divides into 3.
Because neither of them have a letter. So are these like terms? Because they both have a y? They are. Now, I can't combine any of these yet, but I know that I can turn a 3 into a 6, right? Okay, so I'm just going to make all my denominators 6. Multiply by 2, multiply by 2, and that gives me 14y over 6. Multiply by 2, multiply by 2. When we're making common denominators, you always do it by multiplying, okay? And what you do to the bottom, you have to do the top. That's what keeps it equal. Okay, we're just unsimplifying this fraction. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2. And now these already have a denominator of 6, so I'm just going to bring them over. And these are still like terms. These both have y. I flipped my symbols, sorry y'all. And those both don't.
Oh, that one.
I know, me too, but I already did it. I'm sorry. Okay, 14y plus 4y. 18y. And now do denominators change when we add? No. Y'all can say it. Y'all all just like stare at me and like barely shake your head. Okay, negative 2/6 plus 7/6. Well, what's negative 2 plus 7?
Huh?
Positive 5.
I do not know what you said.
Negative 2 plus 7.
Oh, I thought you said -6 plus 7.
No, I said negative 2/6 plus 7/6 at first. Okay, does this simplify? What does it simplify to? One more. 3y. And then does this simplify? No.
I was like, when you got 6, 12.
He was doing the multiples of 6. 18.
I was adding 6 to get to 18. My brain was like,
He gave up.
Halfway through.
2/3.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
See where he got it.
Look at number 5. So these are a little weird. Addition is not, because here's my question. Does order matter when you're adding? What's 2 plus 3? 5. What's 3 plus 2? Did it change? No, because when you're adding, order doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter. It says add this to that. We can just rewrite it. 4x minus 2. Proper would be in parentheses, because we're adding two different binomials together. Now, is there anything in front of this binomial? No, so do we need the parentheses? No. This has a plus sign. Does a plus sign change anything? No, so I don't need that parentheses either. So when it's adding, do you really need parentheses? No. So what combines? 4x plus 2x, what does that give me?
6
And what's negative 2 minus 3?
minus 1.
So there's adding. Whoop. Now subtracting is where it gets a little weird. So it says subtract 4x minus 2 from 2x minus 3. So here's my question. If I'm going to take your paper from you, do you have to have your paper first? If you don't have your paper, can I take it from you? No. You have to have it for me to take it, yes? So think of elementary math. You didn't learn subtraction, you learned take away, right? Which is the same thing. So if I take away 4x minus 2 from 2x minus 3, what has to come first? The 2x minus 3. So the word from is telling you to go backwards. So we're going to actually do 2x minus 3 minus 4x minus 2. Because we're taking this away from that.
And then don't you have to distribute the...
We will have to distribute the negative. Now, do I need that parentheses in the first one? Is there anything in front of it? No, so we can ignore that parentheses. But I have to distribute my negative. So minus 4x and 2 negatives makes a plus 2. Now what can I combine? Yep, 2x minus 4x gives me what? What kind of 2x?
Negative 2.
Negative 2x. And then negative 3 plus 2.
Negative 1.
Negative 1. Any questions with that?
So whenever we're doing this, do we really have to put the parentheses in front of the second one? Because what if we just switch the signs while we're doing it?
That's a you thing.
Okay.
But if you make mistakes, you lose points.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. Yeah. Okay,
But
so
what if that's like what we're used to from another class?
that's fine as long as you don't make mistakes. Okay, so here again, we're just going to set this one up. We're not going to simplify it all the way because we've been simplifying, but I just want you to set it up. So I want you to try to set this one up. Just set it up. So this is what you should have. And if you have that first one in parentheses, that is fine. Any questions with that?
Can you simplify it so I can see what I'm supposed to do?
You would just have 2x plus 3 minus 7x plus 1, and then you combine your like terms. Okay, so last but not least, now we're turning word phrases into expressions. So knowing that, we already talked about the word from. What does the word from tell us? To go backwards, to flip, okay? So when you see the word from, you're flipping and you're going to go backwards, okay? Now, what do we use x for? What does x represent?
A number.
What kind of number? Is it a number we know? No, it's an unknown. It is a variable, but it's an unknown number. Like that's what it's representing for us. Any variable is just representing a number that we don't know, right? So when it says a number, we don't know what number, so what are we going to use? X. And now one more thing that we need to know is that when we see the word sum or difference, what does sum mean? And what does difference mean? Now, anytime you see the word sum or difference, you're going to put parentheses with a plus or minus sign in the middle depending on what it says. And so I'm going to show you what I mean by those things. So if it says twice a number plus 9, so I personally am going to read it and write underneath it what it's saying as I go. Okay, so twice means 2 times a number. Do we know what number? No, so we're going to use an X. Plus 9, well, there's really no other way in the world to write plus 9. No, that's different. Doubling something is different than squaring something. Okay, so 2x plus 9 is what that gave you.
That's what he meant by is that 2x.
Well, he said squaring. That's
No,
different.
I meant squared.
Yeah, that's different. Because do we have to put a multiplication symbol in between 2x? No, if you do, are you wrong?
No.
No. If you put that multiplication symbol still here, I'm not going to be mad because that's Correct, you're multiplying, right? Okay, so looking at this one, it says 7 times, so 7 times the sum. What did I say whenever we saw sum? Parentheses with a plus sign in the middle. It says a number and 2. Do we know what number? X and 2. So whatever comes first goes first. So it says a number that we don't know, X, and then it says 2 second. So 2 came second.
Are we just gonna ignore the about thing stuff?
It's all day. Okay, so I have 7 times X plus 2. Do I have to put the multiplication symbol? No, because what do parentheses represent? Multiplication. Now, if I put the multiplication symbol, am I wrong? No. 2 more. Okay, C says the difference. What do we do when we see the word difference? Parentheses with a minus in the middle. It says of a number and 5. So what am I going to put? X minus 5. Subtracted from, what is from going to tell me to do? Flip it. It's going to go backwards. 6 times that number. Well, what number? X. We don't know. So now that I had that word from, I'm going to flip-flop this. So I'm going to write the last term first. So 6x minus the first term, x minus 5. So I just want you to realize we just flip-flop the terms. Does that make sense?
On B, why is 7x plus 2?
Because it was a sum.
Okay.
If it just said 7 times a number and plus 2, that would be different.
Got it.
But it said 7 times the sum, so you have to add that first before you multiply. Oop. Okay, last one. Triple a number. What does that mean? 3 times what number? X. Plus, means plus, the sum. What do I do? Parentheses with a plus sign. A number and 7, or the number and 7. So X and 7. Which there was no from, so there's no order changing. So this is just 3x plus x plus 7. I know in the instructions it said to simplify if possible, but we're not doing that. We're just going to write them. Any questions with that? Okay, your practice is just a front page. There's no back. Okay? If you don't finish, that's okay. You will have a little bit more time, maybe Tuesday or maybe even tomorrow. I'm not sure. So one thing I want to talk about is, look here. This negative 11, 14 minus 11, what are you going to do first here? Distribute. What are you distributing?
11.
Negative 11. Because that negative's touching the 11, you have to consider that. I know it's minus 11 technically if you read it, but that's making that 11 negative. So make sure you distribute that negative 11. Yes?
Yes.
Cool. Yes.